Let's welcome in Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher and two-time All-Star Chris Archer. He joins us from Los Angeles. Chris, let me first ask you, how are you doing? How's your family doing?
First of all, thanks for having me on. I am a big fan of ESPN in general. Outside the Lines is one of my favorite shows because you guys really dive deep. But, you know, interesting question about my family. The toughest part about this whole thing is I'm not able to see my family. We were in spring training. My parents are a little bit older. I decided not to go back to North Carolina. So I have a nice little workout routine. I do a lot of stuff at home. The hardest part of this whole situation is I don't get to see my family because, my mom's in her 70s, my dad's in his 60s. And I told them from the beginning, I'm not going to go home and put you guys at risk since I was just at spring training. And Florida there for a minute was a little bit of a hotbed.
Today would have been Jackie Robinson Day. You've been outspoken about Jackie Robinson. What does Jackie Robinson mean to you?
Well, all my favorite players were players of color growing up. Torrey Hunter, all-time favorite player. Obviously, Derek Jeter, Ken Griffey Jr., the list goes on. But I think as I look at the game today, Jackie Robinson not only opened the doors for Black Americans, but he also opened the door for Latin Americans. You see the influence and the influx of those players in our game today, whether it be Venezuela, Dominican, Puerto Rico. There's even players from Colombia, Panama. There's guys from all over, and without Jackie, I don't, none of them would even be that passionate about baseball. Baseball is the number one country or the number one sport in a lot of those countries. So he's turned this game to a worldly game and not just America's pastime, but even players in Japan and all over the world are playing this game, and Jackie breaking that barrier is a big part of that.
You talked about the idea that a lot of your favorite players growing up were African American. Some of the studies say that about 7.7% of players today are African American. Baseball's tried a lot to try to raise the numbers, I would say to mixed success, according to many. So what do you think would help raise the number of African Americans in baseball more than anything else?
I think Major League Baseball and the Players Association are doing a great job. I'm heavily involved in the communities in America. I've been to Compton several times to see that academy down there. A lot of the cities we go to, they have their own inner city programs that I'm involved with. So I think we're doing a great job. But now I think we're starting to see the game be a little bit more cool. We have a lot more swag in the game. You see people expressing themselves a lot more. And, just being around the youth now, you can see it. A lot of people are starting to get drafted. There's a lot of guys in the minor leagues that are Black American, African American, however you want to say it, however you want to phrase it. And I think a large part of that is due to the Mookie Bettses and myself and Marcus Stroman and Andrew McCutchen, David Price. The list goes on. There's a lot of great Black American baseball players playing this game right now. And I think maybe 5 to 10 years from now, we're going to see that influx. Those guys who are getting drafted now are going to start penetrating the big leagues.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. I certainly hope we see more African Americans in the game. A couple seconds left. I just have to ask you, there's been so much concern about the pandemic right now and when to return to baseball, when the game should be played again. When will you feel comfortable returning to the field?
That's a really tough question. Right now, the way we're looking at it is whenever the CDC and all the powers that be deem it safe. I don't know when that will be. Throwing out a date is just really just blindly throwing something against the wall, and we have no clue. The main thing is safety first for America and for the world. We don't want to be in a situation where people are getting re-exposed to this, and people like my parents come to a game and may come down with something. It's the last thing that we want for anybody in America. So I'm really hoping we can get it in for the sake of America and for the sake of everyone. But most importantly, we just want everybody to be healthy, and that's it.
All right, Chris Archer, thank you so much for joining us. Please stay safe out there in LA, and we appreciate the time.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.